Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this video. My name is Michael Novak, and sorry for being gone for a hot minute, but I'm back. And today I want to talk a little bit about taking accountability on YouTube, taking responsibility on YouTube. And this is actually going to be a direct video response to Shane Dawson's latest comeback video, The Haunting of Shane Dawson. You guys remember back when there was original response videos on YouTube where I could make a response video to Shane Dawson and then link it in his official video, and then you could scroll down on his official video and see the response videos to his video? Anyway, good times, a lot of years ago. And that actually brings me into the subject of today's video because like Shane Dawson, I've been around on this platform for quite a while. And I want to talk a little bit about everything that's been going on. So back in 2009, that's when I started watching Shane Dawson, and he was the first YouTuber I ever started watching. Now back in 2009, I was 12 years old, and I found YouTube, which was really a new thing in Denmark. There was no Danish YouTubers or anything like that. It was a completely new thing. And I discovered Shane Dawson. He was the first real YouTuber that I ever saw and that I ever started watching. And believe it or not, I've been watching his videos ever since. And then back in December of 2011 when I made this channel, he was the original inspiration for that. I am sitting here because of Shane Dawson. Okay? So back when I started this channel, it was called Novak Tutorials. But that's because I was making tutorials and app reviews. But after about a year of doing that, I was tired of it. I didn't want to do it anymore. So I started making these sort of sketch videos. And the reason for doing that was because of Shane Dawson. He was such a major inspiration for me. And, it's interesting here in 2021, hearing him sit and talk for the first 25 minutes of his new video about everything that's been going on, about him being canceled, about everything that he's done on YouTube in the past 15 years, it's crazy to hear it because I believe that so many of us grew up watching Shane Dawson. And I mean, it's very important to take responsibility for the things that you've created and for the mistakes that you've made. But honestly, I gotta say, I don't agree with Shane. I don't agree with him deleting his videos because I think that's a major crossing the line. And I don't think that's fair to all of his old millions of fans. I mean, Shane Dawson, when he started making YouTube videos, was poor, suicidal, working this shitty fucking job, and not in a good place. And now he's rich, and he owes literally his whole life to YouTube. And that was because of me. That was because of us, all of us. All of the young teens and children that were watching his content back then, all of his clickbaited sketch videos, we were all watching them. It became YouTube culture. That was just the thing. Shane Dawson was one of the original creators that was offered by YouTube themselves to be partner with them, to make money with them. He was called up by YouTube back then and asked if he wanted to be a partner. Because a partner program wasn't even a thing back then. And I can't sit here and tell you that I'm proud of every single video that I've made, because I'm not. That's the truth. I'm not ashamed of them. I'm not ashamed of my videos. I'm not ashamed. I've never deleted any of them because I'm not ashamed of them. And to be honest, they're part of me and they're part of who I am. And I think it's a really unique thing to be able to sit and look at myself, 10 years ago, essentially, and watch all of my teen years on YouTube, because I created my channel when I was 14 and now I'm 24. Dude, it's been a while. Sure, my first videos were sketches inspired by Shane Dawson, and I made some really embarrassing ones. And no, they were not funny at all. It's been such a long time since I've seen those videos. I was actually contemplating whether or not I should make a series, a reaction series, where I sit and look back at some of my old videos. But yeah, I know they weren't funny, and they were over the line. My very first real sketch video was called Shane Dawson Hates Me! ! Which was this ridiculous parody of Shane's original show called Shane Dawson and Friends, where he had all his crazy characters, right? And I did the blackface in that video, and I did the inappropriate humor and like the sexual humor and the predatory humor and the racial humor and the sexist humor and just all of that stuff, which looking back at it now, it's just not okay. It's just not okay. And Shane did all of that too. I mean, he did blackface on multiple occasions, right? And he had all of these really inappropriate characters like Shanae and SDZ and Aunt Hilda and like all of these crazy characters. And that's why he got canceled. I just don't think that it's fair. I don't think that it's fair that he got canceled because of things that he used to do. Like, because honestly, believe it or not, it was a different time back then. It's not the same as it is now. It's just not. YouTube is not the same place. The world is not the same place. I am glad to say that nowadays, in 2021, we are way more responsible as a society and way more woke. We're way more considerate about the things that we say and do. And I think that's a good thing for the most part. But honestly, I think Shane is a bit of an asshole deleting all of his old videos, because I know that myself and millions of others, we missed those videos. And like, they were inappropriate, and by today's standards, definitely not okay. But at the same time, those videos do not mean the same to me and everyone else that they would do to someone that doesn't know Shane. Okay, so for me, for example, Shane's old videos are a reminiscence of nostalgia. And basically, when I watch some of Shane's old content, it just reminds me of a time in my life when, you know, things were fucked up, and I would come home after a long day and, you know, turn on Shane's videos and get a smile, and it would cheer me up, and it would make me feel better, and it motivated me to get out of my bubble, and it motivated me to start on YouTube. And if I hadn't started on YouTube, I don't think that I would be here today, like be alive today, because I was suicidal. I was severely depressed when I made a YouTube channel, and I was so awkward socially, and I was so quiet and shy, and YouTube gave me the confidence to break out of my bubble. After I had been doing YouTube for a couple of years, I met Marcus, that some of you may know, and we started making videos together, and he convinced me to start on this film crew, in this film class that he was at our city's local youth school. And I tried going down there, even though I was so shy and like quiet and awkward. I went down there and I joined that team, and I ended up being there for like 5 years. And it shaped me, and, you know, I finally found my group, because at the time when I was 14, 15, I had been trying for so many years to find my group, to find the people that I belonged with, to find my clique, if you will, and I couldn't find anyone. I had tried so many different sports and different, you know, extracurricular activities, and none of them seemed to work. Like, none of them made me feel at home. When I discovered YouTube and filmmaking, and when I started on this film class, and I met all these people throughout YouTube, I mean, it just changed me, and it changed my life. And for the first time, I discovered that there were people like me out there. Now, I mean, I have friends all over the world, from Australia to fucking the US, to Russia, to the UK, to Serbia, to just all over the world. And it's such an amazing thing, and I would not be without it, definitely. And that's all because of YouTube. And for Shane, it's the same. He built his entire life from YouTube. All of us misfits that used to watch Shane Dawson, the community that he created back then was a community of misfits, was a community of fuck-ups, was a community of the kids that never belonged. Me and millions of others. And we connected over Shane Dawson. We found each other through Shane Dawson. We got out of, you know, really bad places mentally because of Shane Dawson. And I just think it's important not to forget that. I understand why he was canceled. I understand why he deleted all the videos, and I understand why he's kind of embarrassed and ashamed about him, because he's over 30 now, and it's, you know, not a part of him anymore. But at the same time, it was so important to us. And look, I get it, trying to run away from who you once were. I mean, I quit YouTube, didn't I? For 3 years, and then I came back. I know what it's like, dude. But at the same time, I feel like Shane Dawson and me, we have something in common in that regard, because we can't leave it alone. I feel like I was destined to come back to YouTube. And for the most part, I feel like it's the same with Shane. Like, we can't quit this because it's such a huge part of who we are and who we've become and who we were. And I just kind of feel like it's silly to deny that part of your life, to pretend like it didn't happen, that it wasn't real, you know? To just run away from it and say, hey, I make documentaries now, I'm not the same person anymore. Like, we get it, but at the same time, like, you would not be who you are without YouTube. You would not be who you are without those ridiculous and silly sketches. But I wanted to make this video because I watched Shane's newest video, and he talks about it all, and for the first time he says, I don't want to hide who I am or who I was. To be honest, dude, I was glad to hear him finally mention all of it and talk about it, because I have been through it all with Shane. I've, followed him for the past 12 years. And I remember when he went away from the sketches. I remember when he started focusing on daily vlogs, and he started giving shows away on his channel. You guys remember that? Saturdays and Sundays, he would have another YouTuber come in and do a show on his channel, and he would do these ridiculous daily vlogs, and then it would go over to being like food blogs, and then he started doing all those ridiculous conspiracy videos. Like, it was just, I've been through it all with Shane, all of his phases. And then at the end, when he started making these documentaries, I kind of feel like I lost it for Shane. I kind of just stopped watching him after like 10 years. And it's not that he doesn't make good content anymore, but I don't know, man. I can't see the point in it. I can't see the point in being ashamed of all of this while still making these like fucking documentaries about Jeffree Star or whatever, I don't, like, how can you sit and be ashamed of having made sketch videos that made people's lives better and encouraged and it's inspired millions of teens and young adolescents? How can you sit and be ashamed of that whilst making documentaries about fucking Jeffree Star and like all of these ridiculous subjects and conspiracy videos and haunted house videos or whatever? How can you sit and be ashamed of having inspired and helped millions of young teens and young people, and then be proud of that? Be proud of having made these ridiculous documentaries. I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. And honestly, I think it's an ugly trait in him. I think that it's disgraceful that he's just sort of ignoring everything that he used to be and ignoring all of us that grew up watching him. I remember when I started making YouTube videos, and my brother, he said to me, watch out, because you may be having fun with it now, but in the future you're going to regret it. And no, that's wrong. And I remember telling him that back then. I said, no, I'm not going to be ashamed of them ever, and I'm not going to regret it ever. And I still do not after 10 years. I still don't regret making YouTube videos or any of that. My point is just that both for me and Shane Dawson, YouTube has contributed in positive ways to our lives. Okay? It's had a positive effect. And we would not be the people that we are today without this platform. I mean, one thing is that he deletes all of his old videos. That's one thing. But pretending like it didn't happen, pretending like it wasn't a real thing, and just not talking about it. This is the first time. That's why I wanted to make this video, because this is the first time that Shane has ever talked about this. He's just pretended like it didn't happen. And I don't have respect for that. I'm sorry. I just don't. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this very, very, very long rant video. Thank you so much for listening if you did. I just wanted to bring the message of love in this video, I guess, and say to Shane, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of the videos that you used to create, because they inspired millions of people like me. And for millions of people like me, they changed our lives for the better. So thank you, Shane. Thank you for having been there when nobody else was. Thank you for having supported all of us misfits for the past 13 years. It means a lot to all of us. So, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.